listening to
Split the Defense.
LEAFS PostGame Edition.
Split the Defense.
Is presented by the Forest Electrical Contractors. Professional and efficient service since 2004. Serving the Kingston and surrounding areas. Alongside co-host Craig Pearce and producer Ted Evans, here's your host, Jordan Webster.
It's actually funny. Yeah, what up? That's funny because Webby is not here, obviously, as you can see. We've got CP and producer Ted here tonight. Give us a minute here to like and subscribe, whatever you can do. Follow us on the podcasting stream sites as well. We've got Split the Defense on there as a podcast. We're here for the Leafs postgame. So the Leafs won 3-1. What'd you think about that one, CP? Big win, eh?
Yeah, I mean, pretty good win. There's a lot of good things that came from this. I mean, kind of a boring game. I could see how maybe someone could fall asleep watching it.
Could fall asleep?
But yeah, it's one of those games where, I mean, big game for Sammy. That's kind of the headline here. Not a lot of shots, but a lot of tough save or big saves he had to make tonight. So that's probably the biggest story of the game. I mean, also, like, we had a couple new faces, so that's something that we'll have to talk about as well. But,
yeah, Sammy and Ned I thought was interesting, obviously. We knew that was going to be a game to watch just to see how he did. Talking about Keefe, too, we should, obviously, at some point. We don't know. I mean, we went and we watched the Steve Dangle live podcast recording in Kingston, and Steve said that they would not fire Sheldon unless they lost $1 billion in a row or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, the question was how many is $1 billion? Because it can't be that many. Like, is it 10? Is it 12? Is it 82? Unsure at this point. But yeah, he was pretty adamant that they're going to stick with him for the time going. And I guess like tonight would have been just a good win for them to calm down like the media and the fans because I mean we all know, like, and I'm part of the problem. Things spiral around here, you know, when things get out of control. And it would have been, I think, like, 6 losses in 7 games. It like not good for the team. So, and then I don't know if anyone felt confident that, no offense, but Connor Timmins is in this lineup, and no offense again, but Samsonov is the goalie. So, a couple twists there that I think. Most people, if you're going to miss a game, this might have been the one to miss. But yeah, good to get the win though. You want to go over the goals here quickly?
Yeah.
So Matthews started it off to make it 1-0.
You said he was going to have 2 tonight. We were immediately, Webby, right in the chat. He was like, "Hey, there's 1 CP."
Right. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I kind of felt the reason for that, and I explained to you guys that, basically, like, this is a team, Seattle is a team that they brag about it. They have 4 second lines. So in my mind, it was like, we don't have a great second line going at the moment. And, we hardly have a third and a fourth going. So I felt like it kind of was on Matthews and Marner's shoulders to, beat their top line. They're also missing their top centerman in Matty Beniers. So,
we feel that pain. We're missing our top centerman, usually Webby, positioned here in the middle. Falling asleep tonight, apparently.
It's this side, right here.
Yeah, he's usually in between us. But exactly. Second goal.
Nick Robertson.
Yeah,
so,
Nicky Bobby.
I mean, he's doing pretty good at making himself noticeable when he's in this lineup, at least. Kind of, you can't take him out now. I mean, people were kind of complaining that he hadn't been in the lineup. And, I mean, had a goal. He was kind of, like, dogging a bone tonight, I felt like. I was expecting maybe him to get a little bit of a bump up the lineup, to be honest. Because we're kind of still searching for left wingers everywhere. And if one's looking good, like, move him up.
That's it.
He had a good game for sure. So he's definitely in the lineup next game to me. Yeah.
Yeah. And what about Timmins though? He was in there too? Did you see anything from him you liked?
I don't know. He's one of those guys where he does make nice passes, and for the most part he probably had one of his best games tonight since he's since he went on that role in preseason.
Yeah.
But it's still like he makes a couple blunders at the blue line in the offensive zone, that's supposed to be his bread and butter. So I don't know. It's going to take a lot for me to be a fan of this guy. It's really a shot, like what hand they are. Like he shoots right. That's the only reason he's in the lineup. If Lagesson shot right, it would be a no-brainer to put him in. And like
So true.
We've gone about this like so many times, right? Of like how rare the right shots seem to be and how hard it is to get them. And I mean, some teams seem to have too many of them.
Yeah.
But not the Leafs. The Leafs have way too many left-handers. So yeah, I think that's the only reason he's getting in. And lucky for him, like he's getting, a bigger role here than, I don't know. It's one of those things where I would probably just prefer Gio in there because like at least he's gonna like lay his life on the line.
Yeah.
But Lagesson, I think, I just don't see why Sheldon Keefe is so reluctant to go back to him when he was clearly the better option when we were having troubles with like when we had injury problems.
Yep.
Like we had already benched Timmins at that point, and like now we have more defensemen back. Like how in the world did he get above Lagesson? And
Yeah.
it feels like Keefe still has a little bit of the Dubas in him, where he just loves the guys he loves. You know,
he just really does play favorites.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's partly that, partly the fact that he shoots right, but yeah, it's going to take a lot for Timmins to get on my good side. But I mean, it wasn't a game where I'm screaming for him to be out, and I'm one who I would pick at anything to scream about him being out. So I'm sure that Sheldon Keefe loved his game tonight. So I would expect to see him back, unfortunately, but
yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah, it is what it is.
So Seattle had a goal too, obviously.
Yeah, to be honest, it took me a while to figure out even who scored it because I just hardly caught it, and then I was a little bit mad. But like it ended up being Eberle, right? So yeah. I mean, that was the moment where I felt that like this was all, looking familiar. The comeback was on for Seattle. We had a good first period, so obviously we expect the third period to be awful, but really they pulled what you and I were saying to Webby the other night, where just play a good first and a good third.
Yeah.
And really that's the best recipe for a good game, right? And so yes, they took a bit of a period off. It wasn't awful. They only let one goal in. So but yeah, definitely this was the point where I thought it was going to turn, but really once the third period came, like that was the test, and I felt like they came out like they should, It's really it's a night and day difference with this team, right? And it's hard to not just rag on them for the effort part of it, because like it just seems like tonight, like they came out and they decided like, okay, we need to prove that we can shut down a game, and like, okay, let's go do it. Okay, fine. Willie, you got to skate tonight, okay? And fine, I'll do it. And yeah, they came out and they played good. A lot of like the puck, like there's a lot of play in their own end, but they like played in corners brilliantly. Like I felt like it was probably definitely their best shutdown third period as far as I'm concerned. Like every corner they seemed to dig the puck out of, got clears. John Tavares, like for a guy who's been struggling points wise, like he pulled his weight here in the shutdown tonight. So yeah, I think that was the real test. And it's funny because I was like, once we're halfway through that period, like they're playing this game and I'm still expecting them to blow it. But at the same time, I kind of felt like, they're just playing a different way tonight. And that's why we get so mad. It's just like when they have the ability to do it, and they did go to a more familiar lines tonight. So maybe the players felt more comfortable, but yeah, like that, that's what I wanted to see for sure.
Well, I think that's it, right? It's something we've mentioned before, and I'm sure a lot of people out there in Leafs Nation, this juggling sometimes has an effect, and if you can get back to some of that chemistry and some familiar lines, you can see it pay off,
Yeah, I don't mind some juggling, like
for sure.
Like when some things aren't going well and you're on a losing streak, then yeah, you got to shuffle the lines up.
Yeah.
But just go back to it after. Like we spent 40 games figuring out what lines were good. Like, fine, you can shuffle it up for a game or two, but like, we know it's what was working before. So, and we're just slowly gravitating back to that. Like, the lines are basically like that tonight, other than Bobby McMahon's out and Pontus Holmberg's in a spot. But like we're back to where we were, and they kind of look the most connected than they have in a while. So I would say we're these lines are gonna stay.
That's good. Yeah. That is a good thing. What else you got from that game?
Well, yeah, I want to talk about Sammy some more. So Samsonov tonight, like this was a different version of Samsonov. So much calmer in his net. Even when he was making the big saves, didn't put himself out of position. He had to make three pad saves in a row. And like a month ago, if he's made the first one, definitely the second or definitely the third were going in. So much improvement from him. Like I have it like I'm gonna be maybe a little too honest here, but like I've had a lot of mental health struggles in my life before. And like sometimes, and that's obviously what Samsonov is dealing with here. And so I feel like there's a huge cloud that can hang over your like whole life when you're in that state of mind. And and if you're a goalie, like any little minor thing can change it. And most of the time it's an injury, and goalies sit out for injuries. But when it's something that's mental health, and like you don't have, like, it's the same reason why a lot of people don't like call in sick for work when they're struggling, and they just struggle even more and more. And but he goes to work, but he performs awfully, like, and we're all judging him the entire time, and it's just this huge snowball effect. And so I don't want to say that just he's in the clear now and like the coast is clear. No. But definitely last game he played much better, and the team didn't play great in front of him. Tonight was like a massive improvement on just like last game. So like I'm hoping here that like we kind of see a better Samsonov, and no way, like it's going to take a long time to build up that trust to be like, yes, you, like, I feel comfortable with you in that. But I think we might get to a point where, like, if worse comes to worse, that we shouldn't just say the season's over because we have to play him. Like he's kind of, I think, going to get to this point where he might not win back the backup position, but maybe he will, because just the way that waivers work, if he turns out that, like, okay, he's kind of pulled himself back, like, you would have to look at Jones and Samsonov as, like, which one is more likely to go through waivers. And so, like, you'd have to weigh the salary cap for both of them, right? At that point, like, what would a team... So maybe he does go down because no one wants to take Sammy's salary. But I just don't want to... I feel like I personally, like, I judge everyone so quickly, and I loved what I saw, I guess is what I'm getting to. And I feel like a lot of people just want to say, like, you're not mentally tough because, like, he wasn't able to work through these things. But there's also, like, a real struggle with life, and he's a new dad. Like, True. How different can that be? Like, a lot of guys say that you get a new dad buff, but, like, it's not how life always works. Like, it's tough being a dad. I don't know personally myself, but, like, I know from all my friends that life changes drastically. And
that's
especially
probably why Webby's asleep and didn't make the show tonight.
Probably why he's asleep. Yeah. But yeah, life changes drastically. So I can see where, like, he's had a tough year, and Samsonov is probably still going to be a great NHL goalie. And maybe he's ruined it with the play that he's, like, had this year, but he might end up that he's our savior when it comes down to needing someone. But I still, like, he'll probably be a good goaltender going forward. It's just he just has this kind of, he wears his heart on his sleeve, and he lets everyone talk about him, and it's just, it hasn't gone his way. So I'm not sure he's going to actually, be as open and honest going forward, protecting himself a little bit more. But I don't know, like, a mental health thing is something that's just so difficult to analyze, and maybe a week off just to settle his brain and figure out who he is again. Like, maybe that is what he's needed. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, really. And then the building the confidence thing, even play by play, like you said, the 3 pad saves in a row, little things in a game, little things game to game, and then you start building from there. Confidence with yourself, confidence with the team. Yeah, I hope that's the path he's on, and yeah, can't give up on him, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. What else other than Sammy? There was something else we were going to talk about. What was that?
I don't know specifically, but the next thing I got written down is John Tavares. So
Okay. That's,
yeah,
I think that was
Tavares now is 8 games with it, unless he got a point on the empty netter, which I'm pretty sure he didn't, but 8 games now without a point. And like, it's just so weird. This guy has been a guy who he's basically just been able to mail in a point per game season, year after year. And he's not really doing anything different. Like, that's the thing, is everyone wants to say that he's lost a step, and I've even said that. But like, he's never had a step. Like, that's the thing about John Tavares, is he's always a step behind, and he always seems to figure it out. He's never been fast, and I don't think that his, hand-eye coordination's gone out the window here. Like, there's a guy that's made his money in front of a net, digging into pucks, tipping pucks, and he's still doing those things. They're just not going in. So massively snake bitten, but tonight he at least I felt was buying in other ways, and not that he really hasn't been otherwise, but he's gonna click here soon. It sucks that he's got on such a drought, and maybe it doesn't help that he's playing with Bertuzzi, who's I think has like 2 points in those 8 games, or maybe more. So that doesn't help anyone's situation either. But like, that's a line where they're winning their minutes, and they got William Nylander on it. Like, you should be able to buy a point somewhere. To think that John Tavares hasn't got a single accidental assist, that's
really,
yeah, no, he's like pointless in
that's
8
unreal.
games. Yeah. So like, it's got to be unlucky. There's just, I won't accept any other argument. Like, that's unlucky. Like,
yeah, it's not just a massive downturn. Like a light switch has gone off. I don't think. I don't know.
No. And like, and he has, in times in his career, he has had a few stretches of every
I'm sure
player
most
does.
players, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Every player has, yeah.
So yeah, I just hear there's a lot of negativity around Tavares, and he's just outplayed his contract so much compared to what we expected from it. Like, we wanted 4 good years from this guy, and then like, it was gonna turn around at that point, and he wasn't. But he's basically been like, what are we, like 5 or 6 years now into this thing? And he's just been exactly what we wanted of him. If you expected anything else, then like, you probably didn't know who John Tavares was in the first place, right? Like, this was where a guy that like everybody wanted, because of how calm and collected he is, how easy it seems to be for him to get his 80 points a year in front of the net. So like, I think that everyone should be just loving on Tavares regardless, just because of what he's brought. I know, like, everyone seems to pile on. Everyone in Toronto piles on everyone, I guess, right? That's the theme of everything.
That is
right?
the theme,
But,
yeah.
Yeah, he's going to come across a game here where he gets probably 3 points, 2 goals. I'm waiting on it, but it's trending in the right direction. He's just not, it's not that he looks bad out there. It's super unlucky.
Yeah, hasn't connected.
Yeah. And then Marner had another good game.
Yeah, Mitchie.
Yeah. So, and another one where like, he was making a lot of good plays in tight spaces. So like, I was pretty happy with Marner tonight. He's had 2 games now in a row. He's kind of come out of a funk, and it's funny that he disappears at times when it gets tough. But I mean, there's been signs shown in the last 2 games where like, it is possible. It's not that he's like unable to put together a game where like, even if it is like tough and like a playoff style game, I should say.
Right.
So, yeah, like Marner though, like so many people have said that like, he's like the wheels that drive the bus in Toronto, right? He does everything. He's kind of like he unrecognized for a lot of the things that he does do, because a lot of the mistakes stick out in your face. Like, they're normally a no-look pass right to the other team is the mistake he makes. But all of the little things that he does, he's been playing a lot better. I'm a huge Marner fan, and I hate that sometimes I have to give him so much criticism, but I'm also a guy that it bugs me when they don't show up in the tough games, right? Like,
yeah, that's always frustrating. And yeah, I don't know if that's something, like we say, he's the wheels on the bus, and he's so connected to the team, that I think sometimes he probably gets down a little bit when the team's not doing well, and maybe finds it hard to shake out of a funk himself. And but yeah, when he gets it going, the team gets it going, obviously.
Yeah. And I would argue though that like that's his job though, is to be the driver. And so like that's like, as much as I was just saying how much I love him, like that's the identity problem with this team, right? Is like when they're down, they just can't get out of the funk. And so like I don't know, there needs to be some sort of like, we're always trying to like trade for a guy that can be that player at the trade deadline, right? Like it was Nick Foligno at one point, and then Ryan O'Reilly, right?
Yeah.
And all those guys don't want to be around here because it's like I can't change a mentality around here. So there has to be a change within them. And we're also talking about like the middle of the year, right? So like, you know, how much can you really I know that everybody wants the absolute maximum from their players at all times, but like it also seemed like Matthews was kind of ramping up this season as well. And like we're now into his peak of it. So maybe there's different ways of approaching a season. So I don't know, like maybe a bad game in January 2nd is not the best time to judge a team, but it has been what they always were. So I don't feel sorry for like ragging on them for how they were, but
yeah, no.
Yeah. But yeah,
and that's
good signs though.
That's
for
how everyone
Marner,
was
though.
feeling. And good signs for Marner for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
What else from that game? Anything sticking out?
It was actually pretty scrappy at the beginning. We skipped over that a bit, but like McCabe got in a fight. Like Tanev just came out and decided that he hated the entire Leafs lineup. Like I forget, it was like he mixed it up with Benoit, with McCabe. He huge hit on Liljegren. He was getting into it, but I liked that they didn't really let it affect them. In years prior, like that would have been like Tanev would have just ran his show the entire game, but it was pretty quickly where like McCabe, he didn't get an instigator on the hit, just went in there, approached him, and got the fight. And yeah, that guy is just becoming. I might get a McCabe jersey, to be honest. Like maybe I need I need 2 McCabe jerseys, maybe, like for both of the best McCabes. But
you got to honor the
honor the original. But yeah, he's just so quickly becoming one of my favorite players on this team. He's not making all these huge mistakes that he kept making before. I think he's learned that he just needs to stay home a little bit more, accept his role as a shutdown guy, and just like he's constantly trying to make a big hit, like. Oh yeah, and he fights tonight, and then he gets the empty net goal at the very end. So, I mean, yeah, great McCabe game. He's just constant. He's becoming like a renowned favorite among Leaf fans, right? It's hard to deny what he's bringing.
Yeah, no, that's great too. And another guy like that we've obviously been talking about, and we saw a lot of love for tonight at the live podcast recording in Kingston. Steve Dangle, whenever they'd mention Benoit, the whole room would go crazy. Yeah. I love the amount of love that guy's getting in Leafland as well. It's
for sure
amazing.
I mean, it shouldn't be really a surprise. Like how many of the like Leafs favorite or Leaf fans' favorite players have been blue collar type of players, right? Hard nosed, like just like I don't know. You name off any of them, like Domi, Tucker, Sittler, Gilmore, like keep going. They're all those guys kind of had like a little bit of a what's the word that I'm looking for?
Bit of grit?
Yeah, like a bit of grit. Yeah, I was looking for a little bit more than that. But yeah, like just...
Like heart, I guess? I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
Lots of heart.
Yeah.
Sure.
A chip on their shoulder. That's what I'm going for.
Okay, yeah.
And I feel like that's a little bit what Benoit has. He came in here with something to prove, and he's proved it. I mean, he won't stand down anything. I bet you if Ryan Reeves was on another team in his heyday, I bet you Benoit would go for it. Like he just seems to... he's not as big as he plays, to be honest. Like he's not the big, like he's not, McCabe big. McCabe's bigger than him, even though
right.
Yeah. I mean, Austin Matthews is way bigger than Benoit is, but it's all about how you play. And he's by far, he's won over the Leaf fans' hearts.
That's wicked.
Yeah. I just hope that he sticks around. That's the thing, is when you sign these guys to a 1-year deal, you fall in love with them, and then they probably go away, which sucks. But I mean, I hope he sticks around.
For sure.
And also, he's a Brad Treliving kind of defenseman. So I feel like he probably does have like a $2 million contract in his future around here. Like
Nice.
that might be a bit, depends on the years, I guess. But yeah, he's in for for a raise, and
Yes.
and for like I would keep him for a few years. Like it's just the more years you tack on that, you probably got to pay him a bit more because
Sure.
a lot of teams want a player like that. So
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Well, what else from that game? Any standout players, moments, anything?
I don't know. Matthews was looking pretty good. What else?
Of course, we love Matty.
Yeah.
38 goals on the season.
Yeah, just he's
Unreal.
still feeling it. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know
can't
what
wait
else
to see how that ends up. Like, I want to see. Like, I was saying at the start of the season, I was skeptical about the 70. We were saying that. I'm not skeptical at all anymore. Like, it's happening. Like, it's.
To think that he's almost at
happening.
40 at this point. Like,
I know.
we're not even like we're just about at the All-Star break, and like he could easily have 40 by the All-Star break.
Yeah.
Like, he still has 2 or 3 more games until the break.
Oh my God.
So yeah.
Well, let's have two games in a row again with a Hattie. Two Hattie games again, like he did at the start of the season. And yeah, he'll blow right past that. Like
Yeah, we're at
he could easily
44
do
at that point. Like,
yeah, like it's
Yeah.
crazy.
it is crazy. Like some guys can't even buy a goal, but he just seems to throw them on. And like some of his goals, just like he's had some in the corners where, yeah, just tossing them. And I know he knows what he's doing, but some of them are a bit lucky, you know. So it's funny that like Tavares can't even luck into an assist, and he's on fire. He can't do no wrong.
Yeah.
And also at the same time doing all the things that we love, like as a two-way player.
Yes.
It's not, I know that like it's kind of old news now that he plays well both ways, but I don't think talked enough about, you know, like
It's true. I mean, we talk so much about, Matty, goal scorer, especially when the comparison with Nate came up. It was like,
Yeah.
well, Nate's more complete. And it's like, it's not like Matthews doesn't do this stuff, though. Like,
No.
he's good at it. He's a great two-way player.
But for sure. And I might argue that he's better than McKinnon at playing in his own zone. You
Sure.
know, like the thing about McKinnon is just how he controls a game in general.
For sure.
But yeah, Matthews, I think like there's only a couple players in the league I think that rival him as far as
Yeah.
defensive centermen. And yeah, not talked about enough. We're always raving about goal scoring, but yeah,
And
still
how
at
can
the
you
same
not? But
time.
yes. Yeah.
That's why it's not
exactly.
so crazy for him to like win the heart, you know.
Yeah.
It's all the other things as well. So
100%.
yeah, I think I'm about out of stuff for tonight. I think.
Yeah, well, I'm really glad we got the win because part of that day today we saw the Frontenacs too in Kingston OHL game, and we're in Kingston, based in Kingston, split the defense podcast, and they the Fronts lost. It was a rough loss, but part of a fun day that we had that we got to have today, and of course it tired Webby out.
Yeah.
We ran a 2-person show tonight. It was a lot of fun. Hadn't done that before, so thanks for sticking around, hanging out, watching, commenting, and everything. Like I said, make sure to subscribe, like the podcast, like this video. We really appreciate it. It goes a long way. You got anything else, CP?
No, I think we're good.
All right, that's it for us. All right, have a great night, everybody. We're Split the Defense. Peace.
Peace.
You've been listening to
Split the Defense.
LEAFS Post-Game Edition. Hosted by Jordan Webster, Craig Pearce, and producer Ted Evans.
Split the Defense.
Is presented by LaForest Electrical Contractors. Professional and efficient service since 2004. Serving the Kingston and surrounding areas.